Okay, Doug, can you hear us okay?
He is responding, but he is muted, so.
Let's try
Yes,
this.
I can hear you.
You can hear us. Okay, I'm gonna turn the volume up somehow.
Yes, or only yours.
I think you can only hear us right now.
Right.
Okay, this thing. I don't know. They changed a lot of things in this room since the last time I was here. Sorry, Doug, we lost you on the screen because I pressed a button that I shouldn't have, apparently. All right. Let's see if this is working.
You say yes. Here we go. Okay, we're ready now. I will just say that it's going to be a little bit hard to hear you, Doug, because I don't know how to turn the volume up on this TV screen without changing something that I should. So I will do my best to listen to you and relay that information out to the board if you have any comments. Okay, you can also text in the chat and I can read that aloud as well. Okay. Okay. All right, so thank you everyone for your patience during the technical difficulties. This is the Monroe County Historic Preservation Board Review meeting for September 19th, 2022. So if we want to bring this meeting into order. All right, I will take a quick roll call for everyone. All right, Duncan Campbell. Here. Debbie Reed. Here. Susan Snyder Salmon. Here. Polly Root Sturgeon. Here. Don Maxwell. Here. Don Hall. Here. Devin Blankenship. Here. Danielle Beauchamp Bell. Here. Doug Wilson.
Here.
Okay, he's here. I heard him, or I saw him speak. I'll turn that up. There we go. Okay, everyone's here. All right. So our first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for July 18th, 2022. Does anyone have any comments or corrections to be made to the minutes? All right, there's been a motion to approve the minutes for July 18th, 2022. In a second, I will now call the roll. Debbie Reed,
Yes.
Susan Snyder Salmon, Polly Root Sturgeon,
Yes.
Don Maxwell,
Yes.
Don Hall,
Yes.
Devin Blankenship,
Yes.
Danielle Bashant Bell,
Yes.
and Doug Wilson.
Yes.
Okay,
I would just like to add, I find these to read, all they're complete, but not expensive. I like it.
awesome. Thank you. I tried a little bit harder this time around. Didn't want to do too much, didn't want to focus too much on verbatim responses and that sort of thing. So I'm glad to hear that everyone's appreciative of it. Okay, so our next item on the agenda is, I should be sharing my screen for this. Apologies, Doug. Everyone can see this as well when we get up here. So our next items are the administrative business. And our first item is a follow-up to the Board of Review membership terms that were brought up during the last meeting. So it came to staff's attention through this board that some of the term staggering had been messed up. So we looked into that and we found that it appears that the most recent term renewal letters actually had stated a 2-year renewal instead of a 3-year renewal. So since those were approved by the county commissioners, planning staff is under the impression that we need to take something forward to the county commissioners during one of their meetings to get their approval to amend those letters so that your term lengths reflect the appropriate 3-year extension instead of that 2-year. So if we fix that, then that will make it so I believe in 2023 or 2024, 4 members will be up for renewal, and then the following year, another 4 members will be up for renewal. So it won't ever be 5, which is more than the quorum total. So
Correct.
correct. Yes. Yeah.
Anything we need to do for that?
I don't believe so. I will talk with the director of the planning, Jackie Jelen. I think it's just pretty much staff brings it forward with just maybe your guys' blessing. If there's any type of motion you want to say, just cover our bases, that would be nice, I think, just in case. That would probably be fine. Yep. Okay.
So does that maintain the original stagger? Because it's 9 members. Every 3 years,
Yes.
3 people.
Yes. So it should be 3 people every 3 years. Okay. We can look into that. I think that what happened in the past is that when someone takes the position of someone that has resigned midterm, sometimes those letters that got issued, just like the last round got issued for 2 years, some of them may have been issued as like a 3-year, like a start of their term, when it should have been they're completing someone's term that has left the board. So I can look into that. It'll be a little bit more looking through records. But if the ordinance says it needs to be 3 every 3 years, then I can talk to the director and,
It's in the ordinance, so-
okay, 3 every 3 years.
Yeah, and I know there have been times that we've had to adjust before where we adjust, a couple people by 1 year, a couple people by 2 years.
Okay,
People are usually pretty fun.
okay, so maybe I'll touch base with the director and maybe at our next meeting, I might bring forward some discussion pieces about how if anyone wants to just go ahead and like commit to another term renewal or something like that, then we can get all these letters figured out and get it straightened out.
That's what January, right?
Yes, it's typically in January. Yes. Okay. All right. So that was that item. Do we have any other comment for that? Okay.
I don't know if we ever had anything with, our city county balance and if that plays into that rotation at all. Don't think you heard anything. because before we were purely county members, and then just to expand membership potential, we offered, you know, for the city minority, county majority. And I don't know if that plays into that at all, or if it needs to, or if it doesn't.
All regardless of the residents.
Okay, yeah, so it's just, we might have to say, this year we're open for X, Y, Z, one of this and two of this, or.
I mean, with usually, of course,
All right. So our next item for administrative discussion is the memorial resolution for Nancy Hiller that Don Maxwell had brought to the attention of planning staff and wanted to open it for discussion. He also provided an item that we can pull up. I have
Nancy
it.
Hiller was on this board from, as to 2010 to 2017. She was the chair of the board when I came on in 2013. And she passed away last month. So I had the idea that it would be good to acknowledge her service on the board. And I think what I originally said was suggesting that we pass a memorial resolution. I looked at some models for memorial resolutions. They require a lot of detail and whereases and those sorts of things, which was not the sense I wanted to convey with this. So what I did was to write a kind of concise obituary that acknowledges the board as well as other things she did. And I will quote from this book, which she edited, came out about the same time she was chair of the board on historic preservation. So I read her introduction to the volume and chose a book that I thought was a natural representation of her attitude about historic preservation that I thought was something worth putting in this statement as an inspiration to us. So I can read what I have. Are you able to?
Yeah, so since I wasn't able to log into this computer, it's saved under the county files. I don't have that on this computer, so unfortunately, I don't have.
I will read what I've written. And
Okay.
this is short and certainly I did not intend for it to be a final version of things. Hopefully it'll, it's a valuable thing that we can tweak if we want to. So what I wrote was the Monroe County Historic Preservation Board review celebrates the life of Nancy Hiller, 1929 to 2022, who was a member of this board from 2010 to 2017, serving as its vice chair in 2011 and 2012 and chair in 2013. Nancy was a woodworker, cabinet maker, and furniture crafts person, author of articles and books, blogger, speaker, teacher, and workshop leader, and historic preservationist who worked primarily in Monroe County. In the 2013 book, Historic Preservation in Indiana, Essays from the Field, she remarked that, quote, every old artifact, building, or place we lovingly preserve helps us keep open a portal between the worlds of living into that, a state of mind and being in which we are more vibrantly aware of where we ourselves have come from and where we're going. Quote, from this statement, we find inspiration to continue to find work in historic preservation. That's right. I also figured that if someone wanted more details about her life, there are many online. I looked at some yesterday. So she published a lot of bookwork magazines and tributes to her the HC had a very important. I felt like that's some detail that I wanted to go over. I wanted also to acknowledge her service on this board.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to do what you propose as far as having some sort of, resolution or statement. And I also think probably in a larger future way, there might be something else that we can do with it. Associate our name with it or something else. And I have a feeling there will be others who will be happy to join in or support in that effort. And I wasn't sure if there was any particular time frame. I think yours set up the way it is better sooner rather than later. I was trying to think like, is there a date, is there a month, is there a thing, is there, that is best associated with other yours. In the spirit of kind of being a obituary style summary of the circles. Better sooner rather than later.
How would that be distributed?
I'm thinking, I was going to address it, I was thinking mostly just the fact that it will be in the minutes. Which would be in the minutes for this meeting and next month. And that becomes part of the public record. So in some ways, it's just, yeah, so if nothing else, it would appear in the public record, which is part of the county. So I'm thinking it's just storing in that way, it's written down, and if it's accessible to others, then that helps it stick. I don't think, Kevin has some, it's hinting an idea, and Don as well, but there could be more, but in the short run, I'd like to, get this in our record.
She did so much. I like the idea of all of this, but later on, something will come up that we can associate her name, compare her name. I hope. She won't be surprised.
The county somewhat like Sophia Travis.
Yeah, so I think that's something we should continue that conversation on to be looking for something. And I know, especially the people who have worked with her in different capacities over the years, and I'm sure our friend of historic preservation also have some. But I think. What you prepared. I didn't hear anything that sounded inaccurate or like a mischaracterization or anything, so I don't know if anybody else has any factor figures like that.
Okay, so it sounds like, I think that's great that everyone is on the same page and that, there might be some work in the future that could really show honor to her, and what she did for the county. Do we want to take anything to the county commissioners as like a formal resolution, or is basically the record being stated, in the minutes being recorded, that's what we're looking for?
I don't know, I haven't really thought beyond.
Okay.
Do others of you have a sense for?
Want to adopt it too?
We could, you could take something to the county commissioners, so that they could include that in their, weekly, county commissioner meeting. They take on resolutions, and they do, every now and then, have something that honors someone that may have been very beneficial for the county and that has passed on. We can look into what that looks like, whether that's like a formal vote from you all on a statement that gets put on their agenda, or if that's just something that we can just, bring to them just during the public comment section, maybe even to their weekly meeting. Does that sound like we should look into that? Okay.
I can see they're being very aware of.
All right, thanks for letting me bring this.
Yeah, well, thank you for putting this in. Okay.
All right. Okay. Moving on, we next have old business item, the Historic Preservation Fund Matching Grant Program. The last time we spoke on this, I believe it was in June, or maybe it was in July. I have to look at my notes. But essentially where we left off was at the time, we didn't have any plans for a project that could be taking advantage of these grant funds this year. But I did receive another email from the state representative for historic preservation that, just reminding us that that grant deadline is approaching, and essentially there are funds available. So I wanted to open up that discussion in case anyone had anything maybe for this year or maybe even possibly next year.
We're going through October, and we the first meeting, we said, there's not enough, but we still have it.
I thought so.
I read the trust fund.
I don't want to be funny on the people going out, we just have an idea.
So we just always know it's October is the deadline. So
First
We
weekend,
just
first
need to
weekend
be-
October.
thinking ahead to 2024. There's a thing that we want to do in 2024, or is it?
23.
Yeah, but we would get the grant money in.
Oh, well, yeah, we'd be applying next year, and it would be.
What would be the
Alexander Memorial.
okay, and something other than that, which is pretty.
I don't think this board's ever applied for
Oh,
one.
okay.
The Hinkle Garden Farms that, did one, there was one here, I did that.
This is coming from a separate body than like the facade grant. Like when like Martinsville got their facade grant, or is that? You know, that's the same one.
I mean, this one, it's two different aspects of it, and one of the things that has been talked about a lot, that is always on the CLG report is how there's these, districts that qualify for national register listing that have been like qualifying forever, but maybe they don't anymore. You can apply for one of these grants to hire somebody, that makes, it doesn't have to be a physical project,
Okay.
if you do something like that, then that might be a little more doable, because otherwise, beyond the memorial's done.
Yeah.
What else?
And like,
is there?
Would this be, would this be fitting for any part of our Stonewall discussion? Or,
No. I mean, I think it'd be something different. I mean, the reason we got the Alexander Memorial is because they had approved something sort of similar in Putnam County. And I thought, and then they had that money that they were going to give away. So but you kind of have to push them out of their comfort zone a little bit, because they really like, for the physical stuff, they really like roofs and bricks and mortar, but obviously stone walls are.
yeah, mortarless Stonewall.
Who knows? I mean, they might go for it, but you just have to really come up with, like,
Even if it's just a basic of the project.
I mean, yeah. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be a $100,000 project like the memorial. Some of them are big. Danielle did an incredible job on that grant proposal. That's why we got it. Great job. She really did. I am helping the, Evansville, courthouse right now. By the deadline. But yes, I mean, there's, you might have to think outside the
Are they always public projects or is it? Are there times that it's more public-private approach? Like, only the nonprofit, oh, the
Yeah.
nonprofit, so.
Well,
you have to
yeah,
channel-
okay, yeah, nonprofit or,
Or government or-
I mean, government. Then there's that Okra grant, which is,
That might be the other one, that I'm thinking of.
and they have similar names,
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
historic renovation.
That's probably the one.
That one's available to nonprofits, not local governments, but it's available to business owners.
That might be the one.
That's probably the one I'm thinking of.
Because they qualify every few years. or something.
Yeah. It's, you know, yeah.
I have to ask Joanne.
Yeah. So I
Like,
would
just
just
for
say it's
Facebook,
just
I can see all.
something to think about. Think about it now because it's easy to forget about, you know, like, hey, maybe, like I said, maybe one of those nominations or something. From these districts, on the CLG report. And that would be, and then that would be a way to stop all that red on the CLG report. It wouldn't have to be this, you know, oh, plugging in these kind of information. Oh, no.
Does anyone know off the top of their head if this grant matching program is on the work plan? Because if it's not something that's on that, we can either add it to that, or we can just make it a repeating item that we continuously maybe touch base on.
We should put it on the work plan, I think.
Okay.
Because then that way when we're reviewing the work plan in January.
We can put it on that, either project priority, I guess it's types of, yeah, this is types of still, so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to get that application done.
Like if I take this. Flash, you can run like, January.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you can start working on it at any time, but you know, you have to get the report, you have to get it bid, you have to get, I mean, it's just a lot of little components that should be pulled together. Combination of different.
You know, it might be unless it becomes one of those.
And it depends on how you, so there's a definite memorial. I was- I'll just do this. Like the old courthouse preservation society, again, I don't know, they have the board, and it's split up. What people are working on different parts. I think we could put it as the all staff priorities section, and then maybe once we develop an idea, we can break that out into a smaller chapter. And especially if it, I mean, you know, something like the wall, you know, there's something to do with the walls. You can think around that by Steve Kennedy anyway, and have a conversation. Like, this is what we're thinking of. That can work. So, but yeah, I would recommend putting it on plan, just so it's not like, what, July, it's like, hey, we've got money.
Especially if they're predictable like that, if we know it's gonna be that cycle.
Yeah, I mean, unless the federal government stops funding this stuff, there's always. And they prioritize.
Nothing crazy is ever gonna happen with the federal government.
But they prioritize the CLT, so that's the, you
Yeah.
know, we got it. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah,
And we just have the matching funds for it, so like. community
That's the
foundation
other
or
part, yeah.
private donors or-
Yeah.
Well, with our entire budget as a board.
okay. All right, moving on, we have a new business item. I guess these next two could have also been maybe administrative. Because I don't believe that they require any formal voting or anything of the such. But the next item is the NDOT early coordination letter regarding a project along State Road 46 from State Road 446 intersection to the west junction of State Road 135. They had a link included in that email that I included in part of your packet. And that gives a summary of basically what they're intending to do. It's
I essentially, from reading it, it's a road widening project that may be encroaching into some areas that may be deemed historical, but also, they touch on a lot of different environmental aspects as well. But I do have a image here on their report that shows the project scope. And basically, we're looking just for any discussion that we have on this, or anything that anyone wants to add, or maybe ask questions, that we could send an email to the individuals that are engaged in this project.
So there's the, and I'm not a geologist, but maybe. Yeah, exactly. So, there's the Stobo thing there. And then I think just really looking at any houses or other structures along that, but, with the rock formation.
Yeah, there's a pretty significant outcrop that's been studied since, I can think of reports that mention it back to the 1920s. And I know field trips going there, 1940s. But there's a little scrubby section of limestone. If you're traveling west, it's on the left-hand side, right between Roberts Creek Road and Lower Verdigalian. It is basically a coral reef, but made of other organisms instead of corals. We call them biover. It's called crinoids. It's been, yes, that's cool. It's on the north side? It's on the, yes, north side of the road. And I want to say between 60 and 90 species of crinoids alone in that one little section. There's new species that were discovered there. They're in the IU paleontology collections. It's very well documented. Big shame.
So let's don't mess
I've
that.
got a suggestion on this. But right across the street, there's like a little farm stand. It's an early donation letter. Basically, like, they're not necessarily getting into the full nitty-gritty yet. Yeah. And since it was done on August 3rd and they asked for that 30 days, that this board could send a letter and say, we are aware of locations that we feel should be brought to your attention. We'd like an extension of this review, and make sure that they are aware of that as a consultant. Say, that you want to be, that the board wants to be a consulting party, but you'd like an extension. And that way, you're not kind of getting pushed. It's not getting pushed through, and that would give you time to like get this, all of this, any of this stuff,
Well,
writing a lot more extensively.
and then in that case, would we be able to do something with that formation like with the quarries where it's a landscape district?
Possible. I mean, but it gives you time to have that discussion.
Yeah.
Because, this response can also say, like, our board only meets every so often, and this is the first time the board's been able to discuss it, and, et cetera. And just push back a little bit and ask for an extension to that. It's, you want to be a consulting party, but you want an extension to the timeframe.
Okay.
Does it state in there how much they're widening the road?
Yeah, it does. I was just reading it.
See if I can pull it up.
I mean.
669, the Stobo.
You don't want to just let it say, oh, well, it's just no big deal. I drive that road every day. I almost hit that line. I know I pass a lot of older homes, so I almost want to like carefully.
Well-
And that's why I say push to have, say, we as a consulting party want to be a consulting party, and we would like to this time.
And we do get into things that are like new old, like Woodview Hills. I mean, that's not really in between, where it's probably some of them would be older than a year old. So. And I'm trying to think of the middle.
Looks like it's 10 feet. It's right there on the bottom. Yeah, I pulled off on Lower Birdie Lane and walked right to it. So it's in. Actually,
That's who advice 69. We can get them to narrow or scoot or. you
nice
know, whatever.
runway. Nice runway all here. Let's just take it right now. Sure.
And even like, with Hinkle Garden, the widening of Tip Creek is, not going to impact directly, yeah.
The other thing to look at is whether or not everybody within the Brown County, I'm not seeing the, preservation group listed.
Oh,
Do they just
I'm
have
not
a
seeing-
nonprofit?
I'm
or
not
is it
seeing
the
Indiana
government?
landmarks listed, I'm not seeing some of the other important.
And there are definitely some barns along there too that are.
So that's the other thing is that, I mean, you know, you don't necessarily have to be totally specific, but you can also list that, you know, this groups have been left out.
Yeah. I think that'd be important. You know, like parks and-
And it's true, yeah, rural road, I mean, that's, you know,
I can't remember, is Brown County Group, is that a county group or is that a nonprofit?
which one?
Brown County, don't they have a nonprofit? group?
Yeah, actually, I can't, the name of it is, they just got a grant. Marvel also just sent that. But they should be included.
You know, the field property goes, does it go for the sales?
No, there's not more, no. It's for the creek, yeah. And up to them. Well, they just got a really good grant to digitize a bunch of stuff. So on the floodplain out there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Friendship Road.
Friendship Road.
That's my shortcut. Come down, come around the corner and then I go, I guess I'm going.
Oh, yeah.
Not gonna change. It's gonna be-
I was amazed when looking at the watershed, City of Bloomington, that it all goes into Fall Creek after Lake Road. I was assuming that a lot of it is going to the road, but the city of Bloomington, stuff all ends up just.
Drew, I was gonna say that, I mean, I know you probably do a lot of these things anyway, but that paragraph that says early coordination,
Mhm.
does say, however, should you find that an extension in response time is necessary, you will not be granted upon request. And I was just thinking it simplify it for everybody, you could probably just shoot off just a quick response and say, like I said.
Yeah.
The board only meets so often, they would like to request, an extension. We have, groups that are missing from your letter.
Okay.
You know, we have sites that we'd like to identify. And then this board could be working on helping you compile more stuff. Yes,
Is there
thank
additional,
you.
like,
Because I know
yeah,
start
like-
repeating.
Like, Indian theological
Yes.
survey, there should be.
Heritage and preservation. Did you hear that, Drew?
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, one of the groups that's missing in Brown County is Peaceful Valley Heritage and
Oh,
Preservation. But that's why I said, I mean, any of us can look at this whole thing and just start compiling.
Peaceful Valley Heritage.
Yeah, heritage and preservation.
I have a phone number, email, and post office box if you want those.
Okay.
I'll bring it over.
Yeah, so what I intend to do is I will send them a notice email immediately that indicates that we want to have an extension. But before I send it, thank you. I can send it to Ollie and Doug just for a quick review to get their approvals as chair and vice chair, and then I'll go ahead and send that out. And then any other responses I get from them, I'll just forward to everyone so that everyone stays in the loop until we formally meet again. But in the meantime, sounds like a combined effort to, start picking out some information that's necessary for to relay to them would be really helpful. Because staff time is limited, and although I would really like to dedicate a lot of time to this, I do not have that much time. But yes, let me write this down.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Areas people could, throw in some different things. Like I said, I know Indiana Landmarks is not listed on there as a consulting party. And I know the central office, I can't remember. Yeah, so some of it.
okay. Okay. All right. Our next item is another type of project that has been ongoing. The Federal Highway Administrative Project Completion Interpretive Signs Fullerton Pike Corridor Improvement Project, Monroe County, Indiana. So I will jump to this one. So in this one, basically along, I think it's I-69, they were instructed to put some interpretive signs. And I believe that this board had some conversations with this group that was doing the project, and that you guys had requested this to be done. Am I following that correctly?
That sounds like a yes.
Yeah.
It was the spring of 1843. Yeah, I believe so. It'd be interesting to know, I guess we'd have to look at exactly the scope of the area that they're looking at and what that would mean for any level of interpretive signage that we think would be related with that. It's nice that they remember that.
I'm not that.
I think it was to acknowledge the historic spaces.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was thinking of other things like, like, well, were we gonna do anything for the schoolhouse? We're gonna, like, there were other things that was like, I don't remember us talking about that for those things with the quarries, right?
Where along the road are they gonna be? Are they along the highway or they're?
So,
Some of the treatment was at the roundabout.
Roundabout,
yeah.
right.
Is there a
Yeah, there's a link, but you have to insert the information into it. Let's see if this works. There's the. Here's several postings regarding the project. Does anyone see any of these that they want me to click on?
Well, the one that would be
This
with
one.
the 2022 date. would be
Yeah.
And I can't get it.
No, there was nothing in that area that had to do with anything else, like, Virginia Iron Works stuff is all southwest of there, right? And there's no other, I'm not picturing my historic maps of whatever trading posts or whatever, topography, trails.
Because when you get that all this pulled up, you'll have, it has the whole long letter of stipulation, ID two, fulfill, stipulation ID one, 95%. And then they give you. So there's, has anybody else pulled this stuff up? So these are like the signs that they're, you know, that they proposed to make,
Okay,
kind of look like, you know,
yeah,
kind of thing that we're talking about.
yeah.
So like this one says limestone transportation.
So we're just gonna go along like a walkway? 'Cause those-
Winston Thomas wastewater. Right.
Here we go. Yep.
Yeah. And then there's, yeah, there's, as you're, you'll see the like, humans look like.
What will look like in the future when Fullerton.
No, I mean, what the humans will be seeing. Okay, so it's being that kind.
Yeah, it looks like it's from Parks and Recreation Department.
And then there are maps, as you scroll through, there are maps that show where these things are supposed to go each time. There's the coordinates.
Oh, this is nice that they call this, yeah. Yeah, no,
You're supposed to stop. And I don't know that the black on gray is keeping you compliant, but. Yeah.
Okay, so these are like signs along the walkway. Are they doing a, like multi-use path next to it? That would be,
Weintraub is the one developing this, because they're the one that did the audio tour thing. So if you keep scrolling through, you'll come to the map.
Like this one?
There you go, yeah.
So it looks like just a standard sidewalk going in there.
Tap and rock work, that's what it says back.
So maybe it's just a matter of us determining if all these look like they're in the correct. I feel like I will reach a new level of historic preservation when I get people tours of historic water treatment plant sites. I feel like it's a special merit badge that I'm about ready to earn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, Drew's come across something. There was like one like a photo that shows the multi-use path, and there more of the arrow.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have that for everything.
Okay.
It's just easier as a human. Look at the aerial.
Right. Okay.
So I guess, I mean, as far as, do we feel like all this information was probably sourced accurately, or is there anything that we need to through with finding? Are there pictures of Bloomington, Illinois in there? It's my first question usually.
And then as you scroll, I was gonna say, as Drew can scroll through, there's also the roundabouts. And then there's some of the stacked quarry blocks that are gonna be part of this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you're looking down at it, but then the next scroll, it goes.
So this was sent on August 18th, and the response was due on September 17th. Days, so.
That was a Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just counting 30 days, not 31.
You know, I will throw out that Minecraft is the one doing these, and we already gave the green light to the audio tour. And all, and the multiple property nomination, all that, we
Yeah.
all come to the same
They're
place.
trustworthy.
So,
Good.
I'm not sure who's trustworthy.
What are they asking? They're actually asking us, they're not asking us to approve it. they're asking us to review it.
If you have review it and if you have any comments.
So I think things like commenting, making sure that our ADA compliant, 'cause
Or not grass.
That might be worth
Not a mood.
suggesting
Yeah.
because it's presented that way. Somebody may not be thinking of it for some reason.
Where are these roundabouts? Are they Fullerton, Pike, and
Easy. Right?
By the new library location.
oh, so they're in, whatever the bachelor's right?
Yeah.
Fullerton, Pike, or Rogers one is, oh yeah, I see now.
Fullerton roundabouts.
Okay, so we got Rogers and, whatever the bachelor road is.
Okay, so given the deadline that they had stated and how often this board meets, do you want to see this item again next meeting? And then at that time I can collect if anyone has any comments, or do we just want to take a, I'm wondering how to go about this, if we want to provide time for members to review it, or if everyone's more or less comfortable with this status report, basically is what they've provided.
So do you feel like the quarry signs that they had in there were adequate representation, or did they leave anything out, or?
I wasn't really able to read the whole thing. I was at those mitigation meetings when Linda was there and all this was discussed. But at the time, we didn't have any wording for it, but it was all in the documentation that her firm provided. At the time, my 69 was developed, so I can't imagine they would have added anything that wasn't legible in terms of what's going on there. And the Maple Hill Corridor is right next to the Maple Hill Corridor.
This is the quarry area historically and even now, just incredible. Incredibly important segment of Monroe County's history as far as limestone. It still is, and especially in the past, what's come out of there. The quality all over the world. And so I think it would be good to maybe check those and make sure it's just like we want it.
So if we could probably do another month, yeah.
I don't want to belabor, but
Well, if they sent it to us after a meeting we didn't have, or it was due before a meeting that we had, then I think it'd be fair to ask for that.
Well, we're not pretty sure. It's been very well vetted. Okay, right. We've already acknowledged that.
Duncan, do you think it's been vetted by people in the know?
Well, Lytton's firm, it's a historic preservation consulting firm, and they did it at 69.
Right.
reviews, and they identified the historic sites as part of that review. And so, and they did all the background work on those sites to document that they were important. So I'm confident that they would have used that information in the creation of the signs. And I looked at all that information at the time, 2013, so I don't remember a word of it, but I trust that firm to use the research that they had already done. Now, do they have intimate knowledge like you might of some of that stuff? Probably not, but so I think it's probably worth a look, but I'm not sure my look would refine it much, but yours might.
But not so much me. I know some people who, it would be valuable to get their input.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing was glaring when you looked at it.
No, but I haven't seen, this is the first I've actually seen the signs.
think we just need to ask, even though it's after the 30 days, or, yeah, we just want next month.
Okay.
I don't know, does anyone else ready to do time?
I can bring it up.
Opportunity. Yes.
Well, especially when you go from like 2013 to like, oh, by the way, it's due.
We might know.
You know, so yeah.
And then, we don't need to spend a whole lot of time arguing over exactly what that, how that structure is, as long as it's not wrong. But that, that if it was any more other firm in the state, that might really want to look at it.
Because it's not long enough.
It couldn't be.
That's really, I don't like a lot of what you're talking about. It's important and it'd be nice to have it out there, but it's not state.
The notion was that, Maple Hill that goes north into the property that I own, which was the Carl First Quarry, and then it kind of stops on the east side of I-69. It's like a mile of strip, and then it doesn't start again until you get to the north side of Bloomington, Hunter Road, and whatever the one is that's on the other side of 46. And so on all of those 4 or 5 sites, industrial sites were mentioned in the report that they did, background report on each of the sites. And so they really linked them together in the sense that these are early explorations from the industry that was so, really trying to talk about the whole industry. So that's what I remember. But I'll go home and look at it. I didn't read it.
I would really appreciate that.
Since they're external links, I can access them on the county website or county computer, download them, and then redistribute them. If that makes it a little bit more accessible to some people.
Can we do that on our own?
This one you have to, it's just a little bit more clunky. You have to enter in the exact DES number to get to this page, and then you have to click on the thing. So I can just send them as well.
I've downloaded the whole PDF, but like, and if it was different guys through.
Okay. Right. Okay. Our next item is the work plan. If there are any updates to the work plan. So I haven't, obviously we didn't meet last month. I leave items on here and just keep them crossed out once they're completed so that we can reference them later on. Yeah.
It's too big for me. I'll work on it. I can send it. I can send it to
So I currently have an almost complete draft for interpretive signage for covered bridge. Someday I would, and I mentioned this to Lisa Ridge, at the end of it. I think I was optimistic. It was like summer of 2020. I was like, hey Lisa, could we ever have our own like mini covered bridge festival where we could like park cars on the bridge and have like, some sort of small thing. She's like, yeah, we have the, property owners and stuff. But someday I'd love to see us do more, things at said covered bridge. A lot of people who don't even know. Yeah, basically everywhere in the Modesto, Dolan metropolitan area is, my mom was like, well, I might be over there in 10 minutes or I have to take fails. It'll be like 20. But yeah, so, I'm close on.
I have a request regarding the dry stone walls, because we've got the Bloomington, the Monroe County, History Club presentation in May. And, I'm actually working with a local photographer named Matt, Berkshire, I think that's right. He does some work with photography, and he's done some really superb photos lately at, Maple Grove, which shows the walls there. And if you would be kind enough as you think about it, send me an email or text me and let me know where you know of in the county where we already know walls are. And my plan is to work with him to get some really cool photos for that presentation and for our use, of course, too. I saw one on, Eagle Road. Does anybody know, is that original? It's covered with vegetation. It's just past Headley School on the way to Griffey, and it's totally covered with vegetation. It looks original, but it's certainly buried. I didn't know there were any around there. That's surprising.
I don't think there are any.
Yeah,
There's a few, but not very much.
it's only a small, it's maybe like half of one tree. But if you know there, I want to get pictures that show how this, don't even know it's there, but if you can send me just a note about where things are, I'll start getting pictures and GPS mark them and just start that list so that we can get photographs.
I mean, Maple Grove Road.
Right.
Right, because it's so accessible.
Right.
And it's also.
And some of them are pretty stunning. I'm hoping to do photographs this fall with, you know.
I have a list that I compiled, back in April of 2019. It started, we started
Okay,
with,
so there's already started with.
with some of that, yeah, and, you know, the one you mentioned is not on there, there's one that, husband found. That I could put down tomorrow.
Ones like the one down at the Rumpke site.
Victor.
Yeah, but there's, well, there's the one that he found is actually. So there's already somewhat of a list.
I suppose there's one in Weaver Woods, just near there that I remember.
Do we have a group Google Doc, Google Drive area where we could put, of course, there's the county things for things that are official minutes and things like that, but for like working objects. We could put this together, putting. So that there's some sort of, you know, by a bus that sometimes couldn't find the other things.
Oh, that's.
Get crushed by
That's like, you know,
snowmobiles.
I know, but you know,
Not long ago, when my other laptop was just like, and full,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding anymore.
I know,
On this list.
I think so. I know that we have like, we obviously have a whole folder of historic preservation that has many different, folders on regards to like items that have been covered in the past, all kinds of historical records. But I don't know if we have anything per se that you all can actively contribute to and share amongst yourselves. I would say that would be very beneficial, but I do worry that if all of you are on it, it'd be acting as like a meeting space, where, the whole board can collaborate outside of the meeting.
Maybe just have committee shares a Google Drive or Doc.
Yeah, I'll check with the director and,
I can imagine more than one of us being active.
Right.
Google Docs at any given time.
right,
When we were talking years ago, this list as well as the survey, we were trying to get something going and all that. I think that's the problem. We don't know what, or we haven't identified where all of these are.
What I'm
And we really need to. Yeah.
One of the sidebars to presenting this talk, which is yet to be determined who will know what and how. But, that's a very knowledgeable group. And, most of those folks are in their late sixties, early seventies and older. They know where stuff is buried in the county. So, if they run out of stuff, they're gonna know it. And I think that we can use them and take our maps, that we've got. Sure, those ever get laminated,
The big ones.
the big township maps.
We have copies. I don't know if anyone's,
To get like the ones I printed
okay.
for the program.
I'll look into that.
To be laminated, because then people can mark. I think there's something. And then that gives us a lot of information. That was sort of my hidden agenda and the whole thing was to pull the knowledge base from that very good community.
I can't remember what's on this list. I know a lot of us work on this list, but besides Hinkle, the church on Bethel Lane is surrounded by.
That's what I've got.
Yeah, that's on my.
That's some of the other locations, Bethel Lane, South Creek Road off Arlington, Shelburne Road off Arlington.
Maybe just should be that list, my goal is then to make a list of, my stake on, take pictures.
I just saw one on Thrasher off of Ketchum, Thrasher dead ends.
I don't go that way very often, so I have to make that.
It's really through on Thrasher. Just eventually dies into a problem. Along that very end, eastern end of it, it's a gravel stretch that goes down to somebody's property. It's about 30 stone walls. But I've never seen it before.
Shoot me an email and say this is where it is, I'll start.
So it sounds like we're sort of addressing 2A, create a list of action, we're just discussing a verbal list of action steps. to prepare for a survey. We're identifying them, taking pictures. What else needs to be done for a survey? I think it just could be bundled into the grant application for next year.
Oh, this will be fun.
I think so. Asking the community about is the only way to probably ever be able to start a survey. It's just to get people to tell you all the ones they know about.
All these people trapped the woods, before I-69 was there, they, that you're all.
Well, so my question with that is, do you have, it becomes kind of partnership. I'm assuming the person contacted about actually doing physical surveying. They, if there's a partnership with the community, identify these things, find out where they were, and then you're applying for a grant to bring in. Actually do the physical work, then that's what we have to come together. They can go out, they're gonna be the ones to also give you that condition. And I can see with that would be, that would be, that would be something. they
Yeah, like the community survey is an early step, and then that's gonna just help them,
What do you know, how can,
yeah, kind of get the lay of the land. And then there's gonna be things that they're gonna know, like, well, this goes that far that way, there's probably somewhere over there.
Like, for instance, one I was just about to add is, the fact that there's a section of wall, and I don't really know how big it is, on the property north of Stiffender Farm, and it's not part of Stiffender Farm. But when they were going through all of that fight to stop that development, it shows up in the photo.
Yeah.
And I was like, so who knows? But I think that's part of it, is, like you said, it's between now and when you're actually asking for the grant. But you do need to, you need to get with Drivestone Services and say, okay, let's talk about numbers here. What is this gonna take?
So that,
Cost.
you're giving the talk in May, right?
Well, we,
You're talking about- You're helping us do that. So basically,
Right.
we probably want to have the ball rolling, like, so it's sort of an overlap of we probably would have the grant ball rolling before we have the community survey, but we know that we're gonna get some information from the community, and we know that we have, at least a good start.
And of course, by the time you actually get the money, you can start the grant. It's wrapped another year anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, but because like what you said, it's gonna be in June of 2024, before you actually start doing.
And I'm wondering if, Drystone Conservancy would have any preferred, you know, if we are talking to the public, I don't know, since I'm not a wall specialist, if there's any type of information they would want, you know, on the front end, other than like here.
On just after
Yeah,
awareness,
yeah,
planting the seed,
Yeah.
tell us what you know.
Yeah.
And from there, I figure that data will tell
Yeah.
us what the next step. But
Yeah.
I appreciate
And finally, the sites we already know, take
Yeah.
pictures, we can digitize those sites on the map. And then we can talk in May, get more community data. At some point in between there, we can talk to Drystone to say, what do we want the public to tell us?
Yeah, there may be like information collected this data.
And then that would, I think, a really strong application.
And one of the things that they need, like, they need to do Rumpke for, is they need to have contact with those property owners on both sides of the fence, so that they can actually have access. And that was what held the whole thing up the most. I mean, trying to get a hold of someone on the other side of the fence, at least, I don't know, Maryland or someplace. That's the other thing too, is any kind of public involvement.
But it's starting awareness and respectfully, I know we've, played with this the last, 2, 3, 50 years, or whatever, right?
A long time.
And I know we're all busy, but I have to say one more time, like I did, I think in 2019. Every day I would go by this beautiful stone wall on Lower Bales, East Bales. And it was gone in a day or two. And it is now cladding on a house. And it was one of the, it's just heartbreaking. And my point is, once again, they're going down, everywhere you go in Monroe County, you see development. I mean, it's just changing so fast. And I think as a board, we really need to get on this. I really do. Otherwise, we'll be
I
looking
may
at
want to
each other.
connect you, I might kind of capture that concept for the presentation.
You're talking about.
Please do.
Actually, it'd be great to have a picture of the house.
Oh, that'd be kind of, that might be.
Yeah.
You want me to die?
Our Monroe County native quivers, where we're like, ooh, I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
I'm telling you more right now than if I told you all of it, then you would really back off.
Nobody's.
At my house.
Doug and I will be at the back. quivering.
Having the quiver, Drew, I would be reticent if I didn't mention the last one, that the last board education priorities, number 1 and 2, you can cross off, that's next.
Yep.
Good.
Those can be crossed off.
I'll be there too. I'm going to camp with them.
And where is it this year?
You just going to camp or you gonna be there?
I'll be there, Wednesday. And I've got to come back early. Back on Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, yeah. I heard some.
Okay, any other discussion on the work plan?
I may for, in the spirit of our friend Nancy Hiller, I would like to bring up, and this, maybe we can just throw in old business. There are at least two, obviously many more, two known historic houses in the county that are just currently sitting in their awkward position, deteriorating, and they're familiar to some members of the board. One of which is our perpetual discussion of Ord Road National Register House. It's there at the corner of Ord Road and State Road 48. Which is currently owned by a crane company that was just split by I-69 from their Colonel Pike or 17th Street location. And then the other is that there is a house still, last I checked, behind Print Pack over off Colonel Pike. Farmhouse, Gothic Bible farmhouse. It's just, yeah, and so I don't know if we want to just another list to be making is sort of our endangered houses list, but those were both. I feel like, I mean, we're sort of in a stalemate hands tied thing on both of those, but who knows what things might come up. I know.
I would throw out, there's like the one on Warrior Road that I had attended
Yes.
pre-pandemic
Yes.
to bring before this board and then that.
The brick farmhouse, the I house.
With the barn.
Yeah.
And that is.
And it's on the
visible.
trail too, right?
Exactly, very visible on the county trail.
Down the Cars Farm Greenway.
Do we have such a list of endangered?
We don't really have a list. They
Why
kind of
not
go
do
up
it?
down. Yeah, if we're gonna have a wall list.
And then, you know, whether or not you all know, some of you probably do know, that Indiana Landmarks just released their 10 most endangered list and buildings and signs are on it, which I know this board doesn't have jurisdiction over, but it does a really, you know, that's what I've told people. I said, I've never been on the back end of this stuff. I've always been just a member, and we kind of, and to be on the back end, like, the media goes bonkers. Nobody told me in advance, you need to be where you can get, you know, internet access and talk to reporters. And then COVID goes out.
Well, if you want to start such a list, we can actually throw it out in May.
You know, maybe
Election
some
effort
this
to get
board to
started.
start being a lot more, you know.
I think even just our knowledge, our knowledge of it, and also, you know, when it comes to providing resources or knowing what sorts of resources we need to have out there. Back in your first iteration on the board, I recall a thing that came up.
My short 5 months.
Yes, but things came out of it. And, I believe it may or may not have been your idea, but it definitely was in your presence, where we discussed developing a Monroe County endangered properties list, even if it was just for our purposes, kind of township by township, saying, okay, you know, Benton North has this and Benton South has this, you know.
Well, also, I don't know. I don't know how to roll that. I remember seeing this back in 2017, we had the barn tour. Out. Somewhere out there. I remember going out to, driving out to Dale Enox. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah. Exactly, but that's, you know, to me, that's like a good. You know,
10 or 12 houses like that along there in the fall.
and I think there's a rock wall there.
That would be in that same area that you were discussing.
Those ratios.
So anyway, I think we're getting those on the radar too, for the wall radar and memorial stuff. I know those were things that came up in that era as well. Yeah.
This group that worked a lot with Derek Ritchie, before and after photos, you probably see that. So they're very interested.
Regularly show our protected.
like that, I got
I think the main issue is, like you mentioned, website is whether or not anything could ever get. I pretty much gave up.
That's a
Well, the county one, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that's where the Facebook thing is, that Andy wanted to do, so.
But I mean, you know, that, we get back to that whole, this work plan, you know,
Yeah.
that whole thing, it's like,
We can have therapy about the county, county website. But,
but I would say we need more, people being admins on the page. I
I'll be
can't,
happy to help.
I can't, yeah, I mean, anybody, I can't. You could add, I think I could adding anybody who has a Facebook and then whoever all of us, that would, there's already somebody there. He has to add them. I've looked at it, because Nancy, at one point asked me about being removed, and I went and looked. And I told her, I said, I can't do it for you, you have to just do it yourself. But I think I'm only an editor, which
Yeah.
doesn't allow me to add.
Yeah.
Different setting.
Yeah, yeah. She's the only add. And Jackie, for many years, you could make other people add and change stuff, yeah. So he needs full access versus editing access, I think.
I'll answer a quick question. Since we're talking about state of houses, conditionally, the Beaumont house was sold. I think we talked about that a couple months ago, however many months, 3 to 4 months. Who bought it? What are they doing? Anyone know what's happening with that?
Anything, Drew?
I know that there's been discussions on the Beaumont house, but do you know the address? I might know it by that address.
45, right?
That's,
on 48.
48. West
I mean, a very
48.
high number, West Taylor,
48.
it's locally designated, so.
that's in the border,
You know, this board is gonna review. COA,
Yeah.
that's
Golf
what
course
we
reserve,
think,
declining house.
making sure any new owners have that.
I think it's been sold twice. And just recently, the people that came up with all the land, you know, oh my goodness, they had their landscape architect out in Indianapolis, Carnival Fish or something. Remember that presentation? It was pretty elaborate. And then, to have that all, they sold it.
What was their intention on using it as? Maybe that'll jog my memory.
Like event center.
Oh, okay,
breakfast, wedding,
okay,
They were-
okay,
They had already built the church, they were gonna build,
yes,
a barn maybe that they haven't built yet.
okay,
They're gonna do parking, lighting.
yeah, okay. I don't know of any developments through that. I don't remember looking through any rezone petitions or anything that
Do you know
I've
who bought
seen.
it?
I do not. We can look on Elevate to see that. But
It's been for sale for some time. You know, I got a really steep price on it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that may change.
there is I think there's a historically designated building by Brewster's. Does anyone, it's like in that area, I think. I think there's a home in that general area. I don't know the address, but we do have some recent filings regarding a pre-design about making that into an event center for doing weddings. But they're running into some floodplain issues with some site. I think it's by Brewster's. I have to look again.
So the Beaumont house is 1930, they wrote 48.
Are you talking about at 446? I didn't know.
I think it's just on 446 or on 46 going out west, going out east.
Beautiful log cabin.
It's not a log cabin. I don't remember it now.
You turn on 46 under 446. Beautiful log cabin.
Never know what.
Where we could have like walked through, like, 46, 46, 46. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The last owner that I have on here is whoever bought it. It's their,
It was not as up to date.
I think it takes maybe, I don't know, does it take like a month to update or
What?
elevate? owners, new ownership?
I'm not sure how quickly ownership is updated. The assessor's office does the management of the data that gets put into the property record cards. And we just do addresses for most of the Elevate stuff, so. Yeah, I'd say probably about a month in most cases.
That's eastern, western Richmond. is that-
Yeah,
Really curious about that.
differential.
We don't have a designated property there.
You're talking east 48 or 46.
West, no.
We're all talking different things.
Richmond.
They're talking different things.
It's like by floodplain, it's a really small sign. It's by Cook. Okay.
There was problems with hazardous materials.
Yeah.
Or it used to be that.
Oh, yeah, kind of dance to be or something.
One other thing I thought would be on the
Yeah, November 2020.
south side of the highway, that one cabin, but it's almost designated. There's some older stuff on it.
Maybe
Sean mentioned, he's our new planner, everyone. This is Sean. He mentioned that he believes it was actually out by Cook.
On the west side.
On the west side, so I might have just been confused of where we were looking. But
This is the correct location.
right, yeah, and I don't know how else to find it, but
Like Park 48.
Yeah.
I'd have
Running
to
through
look
the
for
ropes,
it
it's like
anyways.
the old Westinghouse side. The old- Where those was in
Huh?
1930?
And like just have that on, yeah.
I don't know,
We'd be
that's what
scanning,
we-
but
that's where we'd be telling her, we'd be like, "Let's do also." It didn't use to split, but then it comes back together, and she's like, I don't care if it used to split. It's like, but we do. It's part of it. It feels weird to us, and still feels weird. There's, yeah, stone walls are there, I don't know how much, also, I guess, or kind of also. That all probably there, it's right there by the, what's it called, Village Inn. Stone wall there.
yeah.
But there may be some out along the old 46 road bed. Like Jefferson Creek and that Downs neighborhood there.
No, it was more in like a more dense, it was like in a neighborhood.
And I'm currently dumbfounded on the computer side of Facebook and having admins, so I'll figure it out for later. Yeah, my little Facebook native part was complicated. But I can figure it out.
I've done enough.
I just haven't done it.
I'll bring it to the next meeting. We haven't seen any formal filings for anything. It was just a consultation kind of thing about planning procedures. Okay.
So who wants the list of the, I just want to make sure. Does Doug want it? Right. Does Doug get Kentucky? That's what I figured out. Is that what I have? And then we can start adding.
Is that an Excel or?
We're not gonna ask you for a pivot table. You make a stone wall.
Make me do a pie chart.
Yeah.
All right. If there's not anything else, I think move to adjournment.
Anybody?
Washington, Indiana. 24th.
This Saturday.
But The little like robot to go like take video of it. You know,
The barns look really
I
interesting.
know, video. Irish fest on.
Any of the landmarks or information I've ever done a tour similar to that in Monroe County? Yeah, so you guys have-
I know, did you, there was one that was, the Cal, right? Albert student up by Fort Wayne.
Well,
Yeah.
last year was some Fort Wayne area.
Yeah.
It was.
I wish I could make that, 'cause that's where I
I
lost
say
it.
cab. because that's-
Oh, yeah, for Georgia, yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's home. My mom's side of the family is all up there.
I just a point of interest, I go around to the farm foundation, look at people's farms and do analysis of them. I was in, anyway, near. Let's see, it's close by. Near Corbin. And this family on this farm, and the kids are grown up, and they moved away, and now they've come back to the area. Farmhouse was gone, but the barns were there, kind of resurrected the property. Built kind of a summer house, I guess. They have a barn that is the earliest example of an English barn I've ever seen anywhere except New England. It's probably 1840s. It's hand hewn. It's a dead 30 by 40 3-bay English barn in almost. I mean, they didn't know what they had. They knew that they had this farm, but they didn't have any idea of the quality of the structure. I mean, that's the original siding on it. It's just, and they use it.
What kind of siding is that?
They use it. The timber frame is in perfect condition. It's up off the ground. You know, it's just, well, they don't maintain it. And then they have another larger barn, all hand hewn also. So I look at this one and I'm just kind of blown away by this barn, and I'm telling them about what they've got. They said, well, will you come down and look at this bigger barn? And I said, well, that's a later barn, but yeah, I'll be happy to come look at it. We go down the hill and I walk in this much larger barn, which is probably 75 feet by 40, 2-story hay barn, all hand hewn also. And at one end of it is a log single crib barn that predates.
Wow.
All on one property.
Russian nesting barn. I'm always amazed by, I remember the endocrinologist from Hanover, when he was talking about being able to identify the wood and what, you know, time period the tree was cut down. But discovering where your property, and it'd be like, we don't have this tree species, and it'd be like, oh, this is from a boat that was built in Pennsylvania. And the boat came down the river, and after it got dismantled, the whole thing, and they.
The Barn Foundation program in Morgan County last 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
Real quick, we are adjourned.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Tech services was just asking because they were hanging on.
Don't you work that farm? Where you do that farm?
Like, or-
Oh, you